Welcome to Backstage with Becca B, with special guest, Chad McMillian. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, I normally see him running around Rockwell table and stage keeping shows afloat when we're all allowed to be in a theater together. He's been a stage manager, a director, a costume designer, an actor, and much more. Please welcome Chad McMillian. There we go.
Yay!
I love technology.
I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah. I mean, but like, you've done a lot of stuff, like work with technology in the theater, right? Yeah. Like, you know about.
Yeah, but
Well,
I'm not very computer savvy.
Really?
Or with like video. No, I learn and I'm learning and I just kind of make it up, but like it's a process for me.
that's shocking to hear from me. That's shocking. 'Cause, like, I would think you'd be like extremely computer savvy.
No, I'm good on like the phone and I'm good on like a tablet, but like actually getting on a computer and trying to do things is like I learn quickly, but like I've always done everything on like a tablet or on my phone like for so long that I've like lost all my computer skills and I'm like I'm a zombie on it. I'm like teaching myself to edit right now and like it's been a struggle because I don't know all the shortcuts on the keyboard and like it takes much longer than to just swipe and
Yes.
so
I mean, I'm not I don't like shortcuts. So people are like, you don't know this shortcut or this shortcut, and I'm like, I don't like using shortcuts.
I know copy and paste and that's it.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So, anyways, since this is a theater interview series, we talk all about how you got involved in working in theater. So, have you always like loved and had an appreciation for theater and like wanted to do behind the scenes work in theater?
I've always done everything in theater. Even from like the very beginning of me being a child, like I was always either on stage or backstage or both. Like throughout all of high school, I was building the sets and starring in the shows. Like theater's just every part of theater interests me, so I've made sure to immerse myself in all of that.
Wow. So from like a young age, you're like, I want to know everything.
Yeah. I've always had my hands in all of it, whether it was, figuring out how to work the lights because someone else didn't know how to do it or just wanting to know how to do it. Same thing with sound. I've just always had an interest in how all of it works and how the whole picture comes together. Like that's more interesting to me than just one aspect of it.
That's interesting. I love that. And was there a certain moment where you're like, this is what I could be doing like professionally, like working in any aspect of theater?
I always had that thought. I've and that's all I've ever really done. I've had very few moments where I didn't get to do it as a living or, as part of my life, which has been very nice and it's a big blessing to have that happen. And my normal jobs have been the same, actor, theater people, normal jobs, or just waiting tables or KB toys at one point.
Do you remember the first theater show you ever saw as an audience member?
I don't. I remember the first like big show that I saw, and that was Phantom of the Opera in Toronto. But that was still kind of late. I had always seen shows as a kid, but I don't really remember. Actually, I do. It was some Snoopy. It had something to do with the Peanuts and Snoopy, and it was at my local high school. And I remember being very young and seeing that, and I don't remember anything about it except that it had Snoopy in it.
You're like, Snoopy! Snoopy.
Yep.
Yes, as any kid would. They'd be like, oh, there were people.
I also went to the circus a lot.
Oh.
The circus was a big thing for me as a kid.
Yes. I did. I think medieval times was my thing. For sure.
I still have not been there.
Oh, on the bucket list. Put it on your bucket list because it's amazing.
I went to the pirate show, but I haven't been to medieval times.
Yes. I've heard about that show. That was the show Janaea did, yeah?
Yeah, Janaea and Noelle have both done it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And then, what was your first, what was your first long-term job at a theater?
I worked at a theater on Long Island for 7 years.
Wow. Wait, what did you do at that theater?
I worked in the box office, and I was in the shows. I was directing the kid shows. I was doing the sets. I was doing the costumes. The same thing. I was doing whatever I was making a living. So like if I wasn't in one show, I would be stage managing the next show. If I wasn't doing that, I'd be at another theater, doing something there and working in the box office at the other theater during the day.
So if they needed like anyone to take over for the day, like any substitute, they're like, hey, Chad.
Yep. Always.
They're like, you know what to do. So we're going to bring you in. And then how did you get involved with working at Rockwell in LA? And when did you come to LA?
I moved to LA about 4 years ago. And Emma Hunton was here already, so she kind of took me under her wing, and she was doing Big Lebowski, and she needed someone to make her bowling bra, bowling ball bra, and like her robe and some specialty pieces. So I did those. And I had seen Prada prior to that because I think she filled in Prada once, and then she took me to see it because she was like, you have to come to this place. It's just like our places in New York. Like, this is what I've been doing. And then I did the costumes for LEBOWSKI for her, and I found out they were doing Troop, and I was like, do you have a costume designer? That's my favorite movie ever. Can I please design the costumes for that? And I did, and then I haven't left.
And you're like, I'm staying here, staying put.
This is my home.
Yes, it's a good place. What's the process like for designing costumes for you? Because I feel like it involves a certain aspect of creativity. Like you have to be very creative to do that. You have to do sketches and stuff.
I don't sketch a lot because I'm not a very good drawer. I'm good at like painting and crafty things and sculpting, but actually drawing I'm not very good at. So I tend to kind of pull inspirations from photos, and especially with the stuff at Rockwell is all based on something that's already happened. So what's good with that is I can replicate a look, but it doesn't have to be spot on, but I can also take that feel and the inspiration from that and go my own way, and just kind of make it up. I know that sounds bizarre, but like, especially with Rockwell, with how quickly things go and how everything's, we develop those shows in 2-3 weeks from writing the script to putting the show up. So much of it happens during rehearsal, and there's so many things you have to actually like try out. It's not like a normal theater show where you all of these things are going to happen. You have this musical interlude, you have somewhere to run off stage and get changed. Like there are so many things that, go into designing something at Rockwell because of all the limitations, but also, how everything varies every single day, and the needs of being in a restaurant, running around. You can't really have shoe changes. You can't be wearing and they do, the girls, let me put them in heels, but it's a very different environment.
Yeah, you don't have the backstage to run to during most scenes.
And there's, there aren't really people to you know, there's no dressers to quick change people. Like everybody's helping each other out, and those things develop throughout. I remember doing Mean Girls, you know, 3 years ago, and being like, there's no time to change. You have to wear one costume the entire show because there's no time to change. Going away to do something and coming back to the show and seeing 4 different outfit changes because they discovered that I can change here. I have downtime. I have like the freedom to, you know, change my entire outfit, where we thought, oh no, you can only put on a jacket, you know, and things develop throughout the runs all the time.
That's interesting to watch at Rockwell, because like every show is truly different, and that's for all theater shows, but every show at Rockwell, it's like depending on the audience that night, depending on, I mean, it's just so many factors come into play to make it stuff different.
It's a restaurant that has things going on in it all day long. We have props that go missing all the time. We have full costumes that go missing. Like it's, you know, it's fun. Like the reality show that would you know, make everybody laugh and go, what, would be of Rockwell.
I would watch it. Yes. What's the favorite costume you've designed for a show at Rockwell besides in Troop?
I love my Demogorgon costume. I thought that was funny. I don't know. Everything really holds like a special place in my heart. Like I love all those shows. Like there's something in each of them that I, you know, that my favorite costume is Pennywise. Pennywise's first act look is my favorite, and I think it's because that one I actually, it was the first time I kind of really made a character my own. And I always do that, but I felt like from top to bottom, that character was my own, and I made everything. So I made his top, his pants, the shoes, like everything about that was handmade, and that was kind of the first one for me that was fully conceptualized, and I actually brought to life the way that I wanted to.
Well, and you got a stamp of approval from my friend who's like a super fan of it. I've never seen that movie because I'd have nightmares, but I brought my friend to the show because she was like, oh, it's it. Like, I'll be interested in that musical. And she was like, oh, wow, he looks good.
That's awesome.
So, and then you also mentioned you've done stuff on stage. What shows have you done on stage, not behind the scenes?
At Rockwell, I was in Rocky Horror. On Valentine's Day 2 years ago. I had to fill in because it was like a last minute show and I had people that weren't available, so I went into that. I did Reefer Madness last year at Rockwell. But back in New York, my goal was to be an actor, so I've done the gamut of musical theater. I've done Oklahoma, I've done, Curtains, I've done Sweeney Todd, Beauty and the Beast, all the Grease a million times, Joseph. So, I've done the musical theater catalog, and I went on tour with a children's theater tour. And that was kind of like the last thing I did before I moved to New York City and started working in costumes because I just didn't want to audition anymore. I know that sounds lame, but I was over it.
Because auditions are like, people describe them as being so tough, and like you get all the rejection every day, and it's like.
It's also in New York, especially, and here too, like it's New York, it's especially being non-union in musical theater and going out to all the regional theater auditions, and people are hungry, and that's great, but people are there 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning signing up, and you show up and there's 500 people there, and you're like
yeah, and,
and then you got to go to work.
Yep. You also got to make a living when you don't have a full-time acting gig or something.
Yep.
So do you have a favorite show that you've done on stage?
I love Grease.
Okay.
Grease is fun. I love Wedding Singer. Wedding Singer was a blast. That's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, when did you do that?
Oof, God, forever ago. Forever ago.
I've never seen that live, but I want to so bad.
It's such a cute show. It's right up there with like Legally Blonde. Like the energy is great. The ensemble in that show is fantastic. I saw it on Broadway so many times because it was just, there was so much life in it, and the costumes and the set and the lighting, everything just popped, and it was just fun from top to bottom. And the movie is fantastic too, so they did a great job with it.
And since you mentioned seeing it on Broadway so many times, I have to ask, what's the most times you've seen a show in general?
Ooh, there was this show in New York called Queen of the Night, and it was this beautiful like circus dinner show in the basement of a hotel, and it was so incredible, and I saw it like 13 times.
As someone who goes to shows like 500 times, like I had to know that answer.
You amaze me. I think it's so incredible that you see as much as you do, and you know, get joy out of seeing it over and over and over again. That's hard sometimes, and I love that you can do that.
I mean, it's truly because every show is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what makes theater special.
What is your favorite show that you've seen?
Oh my God. You can't turn this on me.
I want to know though. Like even in general, like what show have you seen the most? Like even at the Pantages?
The most Broadway style, probably Wicked or Frozen, because I worked Frozen.
Oh, okay.
So
both great shows.
Frozen, yes, but Hadestown is amazing.
I can't wait to see that. I miss being in New York and getting to see shows, like and the last little part of me being in New York, I didn't get to see a lot, but I miss the options. Yeah. And there's so much theater here too, but it's different.
Yeah, it's different. You can't just go to Times Square and like pick a theater to go to one night. Or
anywhere. Like I loved seeing Off-Broadway. I worked so much Off-Broadway shows. Like they're so good.
Yeah.
Like the quality of Off-Broadway especially is getting like really good lately.
Yeah, and I learned an interesting fact about Off-Broadway from someone the other week, which was fascinating. I don't think I knew it, that Off-Broadway is like determined by the seat number.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, yeah, she was like, I performed in a theater and it was Off-Broadway because it had one less seat than a Broadway theater.
Yep.
I was like, what?
Because there's some tiny Broadway houses, but it's because they're, I forget what the cutoff is. I think it might be like 500.
Yeah, I think it was
like something like $4.99 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like, it had 499 seats, and she was like, it was just one less seat and it was Off-Broadway.
It's so crazy.
It's insane. What's the most challenging part about stage managing a show?
Managing between the actors and the director. That's you're the liaison between the two of them, and that can be rough sometimes, especially when people are your friends. But I think that's the most difficult part is keeping, dibs on what's going on, between creative and the actors, and making sure that everybody's on the same page.
And what's the most random thing that you do as a stage manager?
Depends on where I am.
You can name multiple random things. I would love to hear.
Most random thing as a stage manager. Stage managing is not like that crazy. I did used to work at a nightclub in New York as we had a burlesque show, and there the things were crazy as a stage manager.
I can imagine.
But it's pretty normal.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, I guess there's nothing really crazy.
Like, there's nothing shocking? the people would be like, wait, stage managers have to do this?
Not as a stage manager.
Wait, as what though?
I mean, there's, I don't know. I don't really know what would be shocking about anything. I mean, like, shocking things have happened.
I'd love to hear all of these.
I mean, like, as a wardrobe supervisor, I've had, you know, actors use the restroom and drop their costumes into the restroom, into the toilet at intermission, about 3 minutes to places, and have to, you know, try to get, you know, the stuff out of the costume before they go back on stage for Act 2. I've had that happen. No.
I was like,
not at Rockwell, surprisingly.
I was like, Bill.
No, not at all. Not at Rockwell. Like, that's the thing, is like, as crazy as Rockwell is, like, everybody is so, it's such a family there. And the crazy things that happen are from the elements outside of most of our controls. Like, you know, we have there around Rockwell, there's a lot of homeless, and they always wander in during the shows, before the shows, take the props, come in, start banging things in the middle of shows. You know, and I do have to deal with that stuff as a stage manager. So that is a random thing.
That's fun. That's fun. Is there like a costume mishap on stage at Rockwell that you've been like shocked to see? Because I know like sometimes like Emma will come on stage in like a wig cap or something.
It happens way too often at Rockwell for it to be shocking.
You're like, okay, I was expecting that in the show.
Yeah. Not at Rockwell. It just happens way too often. You know, there's, like I said, there's so many things that can happen. Like a waiter walks by and knocks a prop down and nobody can find it. You know, we've had like edible props that people have eaten. Like, you know, and then you're like, okay.
I mean, not gonna lie, if there's been like cookies or anything, maybe, no, I'm kidding. I was like, maybe keep those away from me because I like anything chocolate.
Oh boy. The puppet went missing during Stranger Things right before the show once, and I had to make a puppet. That was funny.
Oh my god. Where'd you find it? Did you find it?
We had to buy a new one.
Oh my god. Someone took it.
I can't. There has to be a situation where someone's gone out like completely undressed. Oh, they're like, I feel like that has to have happened at some point, but I just can't remember it.
Or someone just like didn't have time, and they're like, "Okay, this will do."
Yeah, they get the complete wrong costume. That's happened to me before at my other jobs. My MC would. The MC of the show would run downstairs to change and put on the completely wrong outfit, be out on stage starting to sing and be like, I'm in the wrong costume. She would stop the number, go downstairs, change, and then come back up and start the number again in front of a full audience in a club.
She's like, no shame, no shame.
Nope. She'd be like, oh, wrong wig. She'd go downstairs.
I feel like that's such an Emma Hunton thing to do, though, too.
That is a very Emma Hunton thing to do.
I mean, I feel like I've seen that happen on stage at Rockwell. So,
Emma's the best.
Yes, a lot of funny things happen when she's on stage. And the improvising skills are insane.
They're out of this world. It's crazy.
What do you think makes Rockwell such a special venue in LA? Because like LA theater, as you said, like Broadway has essentially more that's like close by. You have an easier time finding things. But Rockwell is such an essential part of LA theater at this point. So
I think the thing that's special about Rockwell and that makes Rockwell work is the the people that work there are continually trying to up our game and make things better and find creative ways to use that space. I think the fact that the space is always changing, but yet it still feels the same, is what keeps people coming back. I think they have really gotten down the humor and the style of humor that people are looking for, and the way we pay homage to the movies. I know a lot of parodies do song parodies, so they change the lyrics to the songs, and I've seen those shows, and people in LA get lost in those. I don't know why, but in New York, I feel like those things hit better because they're, I don't know why. I don't know why a parody of a song hits better in New York, but here in LA, I find that people love to hear the songs that they know and then have it be played up a different way and have it like a traditional jukebox musical. And I think Rockwell provides that very well, and with its own flair of it kind of being a little off, but the talent is so good, and you know we have incredible musicians. Greg is incredible at the arrangements and the scores, and you know everybody's such a part of it that it's the right mashup of everything.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite overall show at Rockwell? Not necessarily favorite costumes to design in a show, favorite show to stage manage, but favorite overall show that you've seen?
I always think I do, and then I randomly see a video of another show, and I'm like, oh my god, I love that show so much. I think League was very special, League of Their Own. I loved that show. I love Scissorhands. I think that show's so beautiful, and you know, I don't know, there's something very special about that show. But League and Scissorhands are up there. I loved 10 Things. I thought that was great.
Yes. Did you have to help clean up the snow afterwards, after Scissorhands?
Yes. And it was my idea to do that.
You got the idea? Was there any point where you said, why did I have this idea?
Every single day. Yeah, that was, we were trying to figure out a way to make it snow, and we had talked about different snow machines and, you know, having it possibly come out of the house in the middle, but then we were like, it's not covering the stage. And I actually took the idea from Queen of the Night that I had seen 13 times. And there was a part at the end of it where the queen was like dying, and it was like butterflies, but the cast, like all the wait staff, had done the snow, and it was so beautiful. And they had the fans, and I've seen it done in magic tricks and all, and before, and I brought it up to Bradley, and Bradley had actually seen the show, so he was so down for it, but we didn't know how like much of we still find snow everywhere. Like randomly I'll get a text message from the Scissorhands group, and it'll be someone being like a photo of a piece of snow in their house like 2 years later. Yes. The shit is everywhere.
It happens. And like you all didn't have like the vacuums to help clean it up, did you, or did you?
I did have a shop vac, but that was just, we found easier ways of doing it. But like it gets underneath the stage because that whole stage breaks apart. Yeah. So all of the cracks, it gets under the turntable. It's in the rafters. Like the stuff is everywhere.
Speaking of turntables, did you have a hand in those?
Well, Bradley did it initially for Breakfast Club. Yes. And then that was just kind of a Bradley thing, like turntables. And I designed that stage for Scissorhands, of how it, like, that was the first time we had the block stages that we could kind of manipulate around. And I designed that and figured out how to put the turntable in the middle. EK built the whole thing out in the parking lot.
Wow.
And then we rented the turntable, which every time we've gotten a turntable, it's been a project, because it's such being in the middle of a restaurant, trying to store it, trying to have cables running, getting it secure in an area that's not secured. So the turntable was a bit of a hassle, but it was so beautiful and magical when it worked, which was most of the time.
Yeah. I think it adds something to a new show.
Yeah.
Magical to a new show, for sure. And
Breakfast Club, it was really hard because the thing was in the middle of the floor with nothing surrounding it. So our very first show with an audience, the runway butted up against the turntable. And when the turntable started turning at the end of the show, the whole runway shifted and the turntable shifted and moved out into the audience and started pushing on the audience's chairs until I got it off.
Oh, good.
The whole thing started moving. It didn't happen again.
Oh my God. You're like, mad. Everyone's like, my bad. The audience is like.
It was so funny and scary.
The audience is like, it's moving toward me. What is happening? And then you've also directed stuff, yes?
Yeah.
So what is the process like directing stuff? Like directing a show? You directed a solo show for Frankie, right?
I do Frankie's show, which is so fun. And we've been doing that for a while. It started out in New York as more of his about his YouTube stuff, and it's kind of morphed into just a really fun show of just songs we like to do. I did Frankie's show. I did Rocky Horror at Rockwell. I did Reefer Madness as a benefit. And then just recently we did The Haunting of Ho House with Cherry Poppins, and that was awesome. But all three of those shows, we only had 3 days of rehearsal. So it's, it's very, and I did Horror Camp, and that we only had 1 day of rehearsal. Ho House was actually the reworking of Horror Camp with an actual team and time to put it together, which was awesome to kind of see that show that I just kind of made up with my friends from Rockwell, and then make it into a real show. But I love directing. It's getting to see the whole picture and seeing how it all comes together, and I love getting to, especially at Rockwell, I love getting to use that space and figuring out new places to go and how to keep the audience engaged while, something's happening all the way over on the other side of the room. And, they may not necessarily be in that space, but keeping it intimate for them as well as the person that's sitting right next to that scene. I think that's so fun and it's great.
Yeah, it presents a constant challenge for you.
Yeah.
And then what's the easiest and hardest part about being a director for a show that you have friends in?
It's very hard. And it's hard on both ends because I'm very stubborn. I'm very hard-headed sometimes, and I have my vision of what I want to happen, but at the same time I obviously can give up, and not even give up, I can compromise and work things out, but all of my friends have very strong personalities and are extremely talented, and we're all the same, and that's that is a lot. Reefer Madness, I had Frankie, Garrett, and Emma all in one room. And those are my three best friends. And they're, all so talented and all have amazing opinions, but then you're trying to balance what needs to get accomplished, what you're trying to get accomplished, and how to make them feel safe and comfortable and feel like they're getting what they want. And we always get to that point, but it can be a struggle. And the good thing about all of us though is that we never let it leave the venue. Like Emma and I have had screaming matches, and then literally we'll like people will like be staring at her being like, what just happened? And she'll be like, it's okay, he'll be back in 2 seconds. And like literally I come back, I'm like, are you coming outside or not? She's like, okay. Like I feel like sometimes we have to go to those points of like figuring ourselves out for each other and to each other, and then we get where we need to go. And I would not change it for anything. Like as crazy as all of us can get, and as crazy as it is to work with your friends, I wouldn't want anything else. Like I always want to work with my friends, and I always want to bring in new people that I feel like are going to be our friends. Yes. And that's what I think is great about Rockwell, is that as often as we use a lot of the same people, we are always bringing new people into the mix, and we're very good at finding those people that fit into the mix.
Yes, and then they
can become family.
Yeah, and they become favorites for people who come to every show at Rockwell too.
Yeah.
That people see the between all the actors too, which is fun. And then who inspires you in the theater world, whether it's behind the scenes or on stage?
My friends really inspire me. Like I love getting to see my friends perform, and that keeps me going. Especially with doing costumes and the lighting and stuff like that. Like I love seeing my friends thrive and seeing how other people react to my friends. And I always want to do that. Like I love lifting people up, and that. That's weird that inspires me, I guess, but it does. Like my friends inspire me because I want to help lift them up to a even brighter position.
You want to see people appreciate their talents, and you want to be part of that probably. So yeah, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And then if you could revive any Broadway show and work on it, what show would it be?
I want to do Little Shop. I want to do Rocky Horror. I would love to get to do Reefer Madness in a big scale. Wedding Singer I would love to do. Rocky Horror would be number one though. I love Rocky Horror so much.
Yeah, it's a good one. Wait, what was that?
I was gonna say Hedwig, but Hedwig was done like way too well for me to like reinvent it.
No, don't doubt yourself. Doubting. We don't doubt ourselves here.
Hedwig.
Yes, there we go. I was like, he would.
I want Emma Hunton and Frankie Grande in Hedwig. I would want to rip my hair out, but it would be amazing. Like that's my dream of like getting the two of them to get to do that show. Let's manifest that one, because I manifest things all the time. I have been. It's been happening for a little bit. Putting it out there. when theater comes back. And then what's your theater bucket list? What do you mean? Like, what's something that you haven't done that you want to do? Ooh. As far as a show? Or just in general of anything? Anything in general. I mean, I want to work on a show on Broadway. That's, I kind of want to be like a Julie Taymor and do everything. Direct the show. I want to do the costumes. I want that opportunity. I think that would be incredible, and I want it to have all my friends in it. I mean, I can see it happening with your determination and with you wanting to learn everything and do everything already. I can see it happening for sure. And then, do you have any fun facts or hidden talents about yourself that people would be surprised to learn? I don't know. So I think all of my talents are out there. I use every bit of myself in my work.
And, when quarantine ends, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
I don't know. It's such a tough question. I can't say that I would like go. I don't know. I know I would want to see all of my friends. I don't know how I would want to see them though. Because honestly, the thought of going to a restaurant or a bar or anything like that just is nowhere in my brain right now.
Yeah.
But I do want to see my friends and hug them, and that's it. Just sit around a fire and not even talk, just be with each other.
How have you been getting like your musical theater fix in quarantine the past couple months?
Living with Frankie.
There's going on all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't stop. But we've gotten to do a lot of stuff on Twitch for him, and so that's been fun. But I've actually been watching a lot of older Tony performances late at night. That's kind of been a thing. Like, I just kind of look up Tonys from the 80s, from 70s, whatever I can find, and just kind of watch the compilations of the Tony performances. I think that's interesting.
What do you think? Because you brought up the Tonys, so what do you think about the idea of the Tonys happening this year?
I think it's wild. I don't get it. I think it's good, I guess, but I think it's odd.
Yeah.
I haven't really read the whole thing. I don't know who's able to be nominated. It doesn't seem like it's that. I don't know. I think that they deserve the recognition. Yeah. But I don't know if they're. To me, it seems odd. I get needing to do it, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
It's like situation, because it's like not much is being nominated. So this year,
I mean, are we getting performances? Are like?
I'd assume so, but I assume it'd be all virtual.
Yeah, I mean, things are starting to film again.
True.
Did you watch the VMAs?
I didn't, but they had like secret locations, I heard.
The way they did it was actually really. I thought they did a really good job. The performances were. There was one section in Brooklyn that was outdoors and live, but they did all the other stuff in the studio and kind of made it look virtually live, and like had lots of like ambient like crowd sounds, and it seemed like it was live. But I looked up how they shot the stuff that made it look like it was on the stage, and it's really cool how they filmed it and made it look like it was this big grand event. Like it's like, that was cool. The visual aspects of it were really interesting.
I think I saw the Chloe and Halle performance, and the lighting was good, and it looked like a music video kind of.
Yeah, most of it did, because it was all, but there was like the aspect of it that kind of seemed live. Yeah. But it was cool. I thought they did a really cool job of it. And if we get more things like that, I think it'll work. But the Tonys are they're so special. But let's be honest, the Tony Awards are usually a mess anyways every year. The sound is usually bad. It's like, so maybe virtually it'll be better.
Yeah, maybe it'll be great this year. Nothing will go wrong. You're gonna have that one person though who's like by themselves trying to figure out how to turn on a computer, and they're
my god,
sorry, I don't know how to turn on the camera on Zoom.
Luckily, all the old good ones have figured it out. Patti LaBonne's figured it out. Bernadette's figured it out. So we're good in that department. Audra knows what she's doing. They've done plenty of quarantine videos. So
I think the main reason I'm excited the Tonys seem to be happening is because I think Adrian deserves a Tony, but like Adrian Warren. But
yes. Yeah,
so,
I don't know what they would do. I mean, it would be a shame to skip everything this year and like try to mix it in with everything that would happen in the future. But you know, again, I don't even know what was like on this season. This season kind of like got by me.
Yeah, because it was like only a couple months.
Yeah.
We didn't hear much about anything.
No.
So, speaking of when quarantine ends, if you could, when quarantine ends and you could travel anywhere, where would you travel?
I would go to New York.
I was thinking that. See, I love, everyone's like, ooh, Paris. I'm like, he's gonna say New York.
I've never been out of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you
so
have,
I don't know if
desire
now would be the time to start. I do. I absolutely do, but I've just never done it.
Like West End or something? Like London?
I would love to. I would love to go. I would honestly love to go anywhere. I don't even have a passport.
Oh.
So.
Well, hey, maybe next year. Or
yeah.
2 years.
Sometime
However
soon.
long it takes for traveling to be.
No kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First I've been to like Canada.
Oh.
I haven't been to Mexico yet. My travel has been, other than like touring and like going to New York and here and back, like I haven't really been, you know, not a traveler.
Well, that's a shocking fact to hear. That's a fun fact / to hear. So that goes along.
But then I say that I'm like, oh, I go to Florida a lot to go to Disney. I travel a little bit.
Yeah. Disney's the best. Favorite ride at Disney?
Yeah. Well, now that new Star Wars one, that thing is incredible. What is it? Rise of the Resistance? What is it called?
I'm not the biggest Star Wars person. Everyone's gonna kill me for saying that, but
me either. And I live in a house of like Star Wars freaks.
Oh.
So I just watched episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 just recently. So I have to finish them.
They're like making you finish.
Seriously, I had to watch like 3 in one day.
You got homework assignments.
I love Splash Mountain, and I think it's amazing that they're going to turn it into the Frog Princess. Yeah. I love that ride. I think I love log rides though too.
Yes.
So that makes me happy,
especially in the summer.
Yeah.
You need them.
I like Six Flags more than Disney in a way, just because I like thrill rides. I love roller coasters. So like Knott's and even Universal, because I love the Mummy ride. But yeah, Disney is incredible, and I love going to Disney. But as far as rides go, I'd prefer to ride stuff at an actual like amusement park.
And just see the characters and parades and stuff at Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense.
And I love all the I love all the rides, but as far as like, woo, I want to scream. I want to like, the Space Mountain's good for screaming, but you know.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And then going back to theater, what do you think live theater will be like when it's able to return safely?
I don't know. I think have you seen the Godspell up in the Berkshire, whatever?
I've seen a couple pictures, and I think it's interesting. I've also seen like seats close together that have like dividers.
Right. I think we're gonna live in that world for a little bit of, you know, I didn't see any dividers there, but the seats were definitely like separated apart. I think what'll happen more now is you have to buy your tickets in like blocks, and it'll be separated. Like if stuff does happen at the Pantages, I see it as, you know, you have scheduled times of going in. Well, hopefully we get this stuff under control. Like it's just wild. Like I don't get why if you have to go outside, why people won't wear masks.
Yeah.
Like it's so insane to me. California is still so high, and people are just being so defiant against trying to get this under control, and it's just ruining it for everybody. And you know, hopefully we'll live in a world where it's not a problem. We don't have to sit, you know, miles away from each other in order to watch something. I think it's interesting these drive-in experiences that are starting to happen. But again, like I watched the videos of like the RuPaul's Drag Race drive-in, and people aren't social distancing. They're in their cars, but they're still running around. They're still like, you know, it's, the theory is great, but like it's not all there. And it shouldn't be. It's a drag show. You should be able to run around. You should be able to, like, you know, there's certain things that like you need that. Like, you know, Rockwell without Rockwell is not Rockwell. Like everything about Rockwell is everybody being on top of each other. Everything about that is so not okay.
And drinking other drinks.
Right. And you know, it's, I don't know what world we go back to that. Like, I don't think we can go back to that, but mainly because people are not wanting to, you know, figure it out.
Taking a while.
It's insane to me, and I don't want to think about what has to happen and what that's going to look like, because it's just going to take house sizes down. Like, that's the only thing that's going to happen. Like, we can't have a Pantages full of, you know, 2,000 people if people aren't willing to try to get it under control now. Like, I don't know. I'm rambling. It makes me sad. It makes me super sad.
Completely get it. It's unfortunate. Were you optimistic at first, or did you think that it would come back in April or May?
I did. We were having, you know, we were actually supposed to do Reefer Madness at Tramp Stamp Granny's. We were working on putting up a production there, and you know, we were having rehearsals. We were having Zoom. We were having Zoom rehearsals and having readings, and Riverdale was supposed to go up, and we were having read-throughs of Riverdale. And I really thought that by April we were going to be okay. And then it was, okay, maybe July. And then it was, here we are. I still haven't left the house. I've left the house twice, and it was, I'm moving next week. We're moving next week, and it was to go see the house. Like, that's crazy to me.
It drives you a little insane sometimes too.
Yeah. Like, luckily I'm with really good people, and we get to be creative, and we have, you know, space, and we like each other. But, you know, I still I miss working a lot. I miss running around Rockwell. I miss, you know, I miss going there, but I don't know how to drive, so I can't even Uber. I won't get in an Uber now. Like,
oh, you don't drive?
No.
Oh, same.
Yay! Neither does Emma.
I heard that too. I love that. We don't drive.
Nope. So I should probably learn how to drive, because I need to get around. But you know.
I love that. And do you think that virtual theater will stick around in the future, even after like theater can come back?
I hope so. I think it's great that people get access to it. You know, I hope there's a way to figure out how to monetize it, because it's, you know, now everybody's just pouring themselves out, and it's not cheap. Like, it is not cheap to try to, and especially if you don't know how to do it. Again, that's why I'm teaching myself. Like, I'm learning how to do OBS and learning how to edit and learning how to do all this stuff so that I can potentially help out and, you know, cut a cost down somewhere. But it's,
yes.
I think it's great. Like, I saw a Clue that, was it Pixel Playhouse did?
Yeah, like Grandma did.
Yeah. Clueless, I think it was. No, it wasn't Clueless. It was just Clue. I don't know. great. I thought it was so fun. I thought like that the aspects of it that were live, the things that were recorded. Obviously, you can't like, you know, if people aren't together still, you can't really do singing live, like unless it's a solo. You know, there's certain limitations, but I love seeing people get around it, and I love what people are coming up with.
Yes. People in this industry are genius and so creative when everything goes wrong, which is nice to see it. Speaking of inspiring, it's inspiring to see.
Yeah, very much so. It's like see people not giving up on it and like just being like, like it's done. I'm never gonna get to do theater again. Like I love that people are trying to figure it out. You know, and I love the people that are trying to figure it out safely and that aren't just being like, oh well, it's just us, so we'll just do this. Like, no, people are doing it right, and that makes me happy.
Yes, it's good to see. I love seeing different virtual events planned every day.
Yeah.
And then lastly, have you been, I think you kind of talked about something earlier, but have you been working on anything in quarantine that you can promote or?
I have a show on Broadway on Demand that I direct and edit. It's called Dream Roll. Frankie Grande hosts it. We're on our 4th episode now. So there's that.
That's big.
Yeah, 3 of the episodes are up already. We had Lena Hall as one of our guests, and Ryan McCartan from. The 2 of them did the show, and then I don't know when it's coming out, but I just turned it in yesterday. We have an episode with JoJo Siwa.
Oh.
So that'll come out in like the next week. So so we get to do that. It's just like it's kind of like an interview show, not kind of like an interview show. It's an interview show, and then the guest gets to perform their dream role.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's cute.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out yet, honestly. I learned about Broadway on Demand the beginning of this week. I've been doing Broadway HD stuff.
Broadway on Demand, so it's cute. It's just starting. They just started over the summer. And I think it's mainly gearing towards like high school kids to be able to put up their performances for their grandparents to see and to like help them get the licensing to, you know, be able to record their shows so that other people can see them. But they have a lot of original content too. It's cute.
Yeah, it gives people things to work on in this.
Yeah, I think Broadway HD is great too. I watched the Into the Woods that was on there. There was something else I wanted to watch. Toxic Avenger I watched.
I've watched the Les Mis O2 concert like 20 times.
Oh really? I started watching the Jerry Springer opera too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, they have a lot of good stuff. And it's filmed well. I mean, it's the same as sitting in a theater, can't lie, but it's filmed well, and it's like you hear the songs you know and love, which is amazing.
Have you seen any of the like filmed, like the Pride and Prejudice that they did?
No.
There's like a filmed version of the Pride and Prejudice musical, but they did it. They staged it like a theater show, but filmed it. I haven't watched it, but I'm interested.
No, but I think I don't know if I saw something like that the other day or if I just was on Netflix and like saw Pride and Prejudice on Netflix.
That could be because I keep waking up and it's on for some reason.
But I saw something that had to do with Pride and Prejudice the other day, so now I'm like, wait, was it that or was it Netflix?
Maybe Netflix, but
maybe Netflix. Because I watch Netflix going to bed. And then where can people follow you on social media or find you on social media if they want to keep up with you?
I'm on Instagram. It's Chad McMillian, Chad with 2 Ds. And same thing on Twitter.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you for talking to me and giving me like more behind the scenes insight than I've heard. Because I think the first behind the scenes guest I had on was Jordan Ross. And
I watched that one. It was very cute.
Haven't had anyone else. I have Zach Spallon tomorrow. So
awesome.
I love hearing the behind the scenes aspect of theater.
It's I love it.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!